that little piece there is just a tangible reminder of our country's manufacturing and industrial history, as probably all of this stuff is, you could say. So here's barn number 2. We bought both sides, that one and this one. And we're here to plunder. There's the other heads for the 8BA. There's the 55 Chevy. Joe's got the grill stuck in there, so it's looking pretty good, all mocked up. Truck will be a good project. Some of these guys want to put them on different frames. Stock frame is there and usable. Does need a windshield, but that's the same as a regular pickup. So all that stuff pretty available. It is missing the engine and transmission. Old Buckingham Transportation Company. Last tagged 76 in Colorado. I think I showed that tag when we were loading it. And then got the 256 Fords, believe a F350 and then like a 550. Tons and tons of parts we got, literally tons. Here's a little rundown of some of the stuff out of the box van. Pulled a lot of wheels and tires down off the loft. It was pretty crazy 2 days. First day is the auction, go and bid, and then late night loading, and then second day we came back to load and got the rest home. Some of the stuff is just for resale, some of it we might use, some of it might send with my dad to the flea market. The little red posts there, I don't know, my dad kind of likes to build folk art and stuff with wood, so send them home to him, he'll have an idea. Got several cans. This is an early heat can there. Got another old decayed boot for my old decayed boot collection. Folk art train's pretty neat. Got 4 total loudspeakers for the roof of the Bluesmobiles. Several parts of 68 Ford car. Got the driver's fender. And then there's actually a hood in the back of the stack there. Other hood there's a 69 Impala. And then there's a couple 61 through 66 Ford pickup hoods. Those hoods have different side trim each year, and I'm not sure exactly what those are. Then pair of doors for 60s truck, and then a 57, 8, 9 hood somewhere in there. These 39 hood sides came from up in the loft. Somebody will want them. They got a good toasty black lacquer patina on them. These Model A fenders, if somebody wanted them for piecing a car together, they'd be available. Otherwise, we did get all the pieces here with the grill and the headlight bar to probably build wall art. So that's probably what'll happen to them. I mean, you can see they're pretty rough overall and stuff like that. That's all reproduced. If anybody's doing a restoration, they're not going to fix old banged up stuff like that. We did get some early Model A wheels. The 28-29 had that rolled bead. 30-31 were 19s. These 28-29s were 21. So these are the bigger style. those do like to rust in that rolled edge if they're in a rusty place. So out western Kansas, Garden City, they're in pretty good shape. Few boxes that came with a wonder pile. We'll sort through them a little bit. There's a big heavy truck bumper under there on the bottom. Kind of a cool old Conoco battery. And then we did get this huge tub of all these hubcaps. It's upper 90s out here. I'm kind of dying, so won't sort through those today, but another time we will. There's probably some good stuff in there and some marginal stuff just for decoration, wall hangers. 50s porcelain light there in this truck. There's actually some 16-inch Ford wheels and really nice set of 14-inch Ford spoke covers. You could get those on the Pinto, the Fairmont. Several models had them, and those are super nice. I've seen them sell for quite a bit on eBay, so hopefully those will find a buyer that loves and appreciates them. And then there's a 80s Oldsmobile set of spokes in there. Super nice preserved set of caps. Catch the F350. Believe that's a factory built grill guard, maybe by an aftermarket company. I'm not sure if they were in the Ford catalog or not. And then somebody's put the tow hooks on there, so that's got a good working vibe to it. Thing actually came from Fort Scott, Kansas, which is a long way from Garden City. Again, this auction, they were in the Carnival business, so these box fans were what they took some of the stuff around when they set up in different towns for fairs and things. And so that long sign there, I think maybe from a shooting gallery or maybe some other sort of gallery. There's a ticket sign here, and then this box is what they would have put the ticket stubs into. I did get a few of these old tires to mount up for rollers. They're still pretty soft. Kind of an oddball one there is this 14-inch Demon. So somebody's restoring a Dodge Demon from the early 70s. I thought that thing would be kind of interesting to stick in the trunk for display. These old gearboxes, I was hoping they'd be something rare or exotic or exciting, like an accessory for a tractor or PTO for a Jeep or something, but I reached out to Tractor Dave. His YouTube channel is Crazy D Equipment, and he let me know that they are like real lift pieces, I don't know how to say it, for a combine header out of the 40s or 50s. So nothing probably too collectible or have too much interest, so they'll probably go for scrap. But when you're cleaning up a place like that, there's just tons and tons of stuff to look at, and kind of goes quick to gather it, so you just got to grab and toss in the load if it looks interesting, and then sort it later, which probably could say that about all the stuff in this bucket here. There's a few like single fog lights. I just put all them in a bucket, and whenever I get a matching pair, then sell them. Several little small engine gas tanks. I think I'll probably trade them off to one of my garden tractor collector friends. Little post there next to the jerry cans. Probably put a sign on that or something, who knows. So as it turns out, the metal stand was actually the perfect mounting piece for Big Bertha, my plus-size dress form. Jerry cans, my dad'll like them for the flea market. Got this little iron doorstop. I'll use that as a doorstop. I've been looking for one. I use a battery right now and was looking for something smaller, so I was kind of excited to find that, although it's probably the dullest piece here. I really like it, and it's marked Richardson Scale Company out of New York. So that piece there, piece of United States manufacturing history. Obviously the foundries in New York are all long gone. They've either been demolished to build other things on the sites, or probably repurposed into apartment lofts or art galleries, who knows. But that little piece there is just a tangible reminder of our country's manufacturing and industrial history, as probably all of this stuff is, you could say. Little brass fan blade, Ford Falcon starter. That's like a regular Ford starter, except it's like 2/3 the size. Some big pistons. My dad likes to sell those at the flea market, and I always look for them whenever I find them. Dad turns 74 this week, and he's still kicking, so happy birthday, Dad. He doesn't watch the channel, but happy birthday to him anyway. 59 Chevy dog dish or pie pan hubcaps, whatever you want to call them. 59 had the smooth edge. 60 had little ribs, because when people would pound them in, they'd dent and deform. People complained about that. Those are not reproduced, so even banged up ones people still buy. And we got the Chevy 235 manifold set with rocker arm and valve cover. Those old 235s do have collector value, and so I'll save those parts. Those oil filters, people actually buy them because there's not factory stock installed ones on those or the 216, so good, usable, functional, saleable piece. Then over here, these truck mud flaps, I like to use them in the yard, throw them down, and they will kill weeds, and then you just move them every month or two, kill some more weeds. These grills are like Ford C-Series cab overs, like that green truck that was out at the auction. Super cool truck, but Joe chose the Chevy. Chevy's technically a low cab forward, and that's probably a little harder to find than that C-Series, because they only built these Chevys 3 years, and the Fords they would have built a long time, like 58 into 80s, almost, maybe I think 90 was the finish on them. Then got a Volkswagen bumper with the overriders. There's a lot of like ghosts of vehicles that they probably had out on that property that were no longer there, and this was one of a few bug parts that were laying around. And just more little bits and pieces, couple more fuel tanks for the small engines, minnow bucket, send that with the flea market stuff to Dad. And then this little ammo box is kind of an oddball. It's got like a slide out drawer rather than a flip top, so that's a bit of an oddity. Then in the bucket, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Really, really cool can. Great old cartoon graphics on there. It's probably 40s era, so really, really cool find to have something 3/4 of a century old that still looks that good. I do have one of these that's pretty toasty but readable, but really, really excited to find this because it shows what the original colors were. And more cans, co-op brake fluid, and Simonized body sheen, as well as another Simonized metal polish. So those will go up on the can wall. If you haven't seen that video, I did about 500 oil cans up on the wall in the shop and shot around all of them. 8BA Ford, bell housing ring and inspection cover. Got this 2 8BA blocks, which ought to be pretty desirable. They've been stored inside, and might zip the heads off of those and see what the condition of the bores is, and they might even be able to be honed, cleaned up, do kind of a little quick refurb on them, or if somebody wanted to rebuild them. And then we got the little pitching sign. They said there was like a game that they had at the carnivals where you could have your throws timed, and so that's what that is. I would probably be Pee Wee League just because I don't have much of any upper body strength in my toothpick arms. I was 6'3" and 140 pounds in 8th grade. Could not lift the bar off the military press, and I have not gained an inch or a pound since. Still fit the clothes I wore in 8th grade. Interesting ring there. I'll probably use that to make a sign. Then several of these iron gates. Some iron railings behind there. Send those to the flea market with Dad. We got the Coke cooler in here. Pretty neat to go with the Coke button that I discovered up in the loft with Joe. Joe was actually the discoverer of that. I was just the camera guy. 2 5-gallon buckets of seashells. Not exactly sure what I'll do with those, but they're just kind of neat. And they pick these things up out of the ocean. Who knows, somebody might want to use them for decor, do a border around a bathroom or something. I'll either put them on Facebook Marketplace or send them to the flea market with Dad. Another 61-6 Ford truck radio. Those were like 150, 200 on eBay. Joe pulled one out of a truck, and then I found that one in one of the buildings. Old wagon or pedal car wheel. Sears catalog display stand. That's kind of a odd piece. I got a bunch of old catalogs I'll stick in there. Kind of a neat little display. And just more parts and pieces. Body and interior trim and all kinds of random stuff. 71 or 72 Ford full-size car bumper that's got the overrider guards on it. And this little one back here, I'm almost certain would be like a American Bantam or American Austin. Not sure exactly what that model was. Then Little Brown Jug was the brand, and that's the carry-all picnic ice chest. Another good flea market piece to send with Dad. And the final little leg of the tour. More gates, more ticket signs. There's a bunch more wizard stuff in there, but unfortunately the guy was wanting to lock up and Joe was wanting to get going, so I didn't have time to unload all that shelf, and so that's just kind of how it goes. A little tag piece there, another little shelf. Guy said this piece here was a bird trap. Said you put the bird seed in the bottom, and then the bird kind of steps and flips, and I'm not sure what you'd trap a bird for, but back in the presumably 1950s when they built that trap, that's what they had in mind, so that's what they did. Carburetors of all brands, some new wire, some alternators, starters. I'll look those up by the part number, and they're either a few dollars a piece for cores at minimum, or they could be 100, 150 for the numbers guys, anybody restoring a muscle car that wants to build it back to factory showroom appearance. Then we got another GM can for the can wall, couple buckets for Dad, and Walmart branded rattle can there. I got a bunch of other Walmart stuff that's branded, so that'll go with that. Really nice Texas license plate, some street signs. These Roadrunner mud flaps are kind of cool. A lot of people see them and remember them. Then we've got the danger sign. That was probably off of a electric panel, presumably of a powered ride that they took around to the carnivals. So it'll make a good wall hanger. Another wheel rim. We got tons of wheels and tires out of there. I like selling rims and tires. Mainly rims. Tires we'll use just for rollers. Old enough they won't see the highway again. Bicycle frame, no head badge, so not exactly sure what it is. And then just more cans, buckets, some Chevy script valve covers. Those have the offset holes. I think they're the earlier ones. Probably wall hangers more than likely because they fit the real early engines. And kind of a neat porcelain light. Over on the other side there is a spare lens for it. It's a Revere brand. Probably just something that they used to light up one of the rides when they had them out there. More little vintage cans and bits and pieces. One of the really cool cans was this tiny Chef Boyardee grated cheese can. 1.5 ounce little bitty thing. Best part of this is that they opened it from the bottom, so at that top still intact, it'll really display nice. I think this is a little red gas can in there. I got a whole collection of them. The Coke button was pretty exciting. There were a couple other little things around where you could tell that Coke was the brand that they had served at the carnivals and stuff, and kind of really fun deal to find that piece in the wild, as they say, not out at a show or something. It was actually in the place where it would have been stored after it was used. Last pretty neat piece was this mobile lubrication. I think these had like little tabs in there, and you just put alphabetized little service cards in there, and that way you'd know when to send the customers a reminder. Little SK tools, flap for your wrenches. I'm not really a tool collector. If I have a tool, I'm gonna use the thing, but to a guy that's collecting them, that might be kind of a useful piece. Rainbow bread bag, I thought was kind of a cool piece. It's pretty old. It's got the little blue ink stamp, no barcode. Thank everybody for taking a watch of all the stuff that we found. Pretty big volume of what was there, and we didn't even really go crazy. We just kind of threw out some cheap bids, and if anybody really wanted that stuff, we kind of let them have it. I don't think we were really into any of this stuff for very big money. Generally, when the crowd's not super huge like that and there's that much volume of stuff, don't really get too crazy on anything. Here's just a few more pieces that we turned up out of the place. This is a Oliver tractor umbrella. I believe that's brand new, never mounted. Good piece for a Oliver tractor collector. The amusement business magazines, just pretty fascinating reading. See all the different advertisements and new things available. Astronaut ride's pretty cool. I believe this one's from '63. So you can see what people were into at the time. There's some one ads in here and kind of a neat little winged turnpike cruiser. Just pretty neat to see the different elements and things of the period in those. Kansas Driving Handbook, probably from the 60s. Some interesting old diagrams in there. I always like these for the different graphic art that they have. This is a Prairie Schooner conversion van tire cover. Kind of a neat relic of old van culture. After people had customized vans for so many years, then the conversion manufacturers started to pop up, and that was one that was local around our area. So I actually remember seeing these on vans driving around as I was growing up. So just kind of a unique piece to stumble across. Then motorcycle riding boots that are vintage set and actually still pretty soft and not all dried up and decayed. The leather's still really in good shape. So somebody was telling me, depending on the brand, would kind of determine the value of them, but I was not able to find any manufacturer on them. We got the other Aladdin lamp. This is a chalkware, and I'm not sure what they call those, Nubian maybe. Then got this gallon jug of distilled water. A lot of people wouldn't think this is super fantastic, but I like stuff like this that was just the plain run-of-the-mill things that never should have survived. You know, that label's still readable, shows the address of where they made it there in Hutchinson, Kansas. Even has remnants of an old telephone number when they still had the exchanges. So all that stuff just makes it a unique relic of the time that it was in. Then got this whole big box of magazines. There's a lot of like 1940s outdoor stuff, hunting and fishing, field and stream. I'm not really an outdoorsman. Not something I've ever had a whole lot of interest in, just because there's a cool ad. Super cool ad. Wow. My recreation pretty much happens indoors because my work happens outdoors. It's pretty fascinating still to look at anyway. You got definite World War II, 1943 there was about the heart of it. A lot of references to the war in those, which is pretty neat. Then we've got the Cattleman magazine. This is a magazine that's fairly targeted to the certain crowd who'd be reading it. This is back when the things that they were buying had actual use and function for the business that they were in. Didn't necessarily have cowboy wannabes dressing up in the garb. If you were buying it in this time 75 years ago, it was because you actually needed it. So those are kind of neat to look through. Western livestock, there's a few different titles in here. Westerner. Here's the Ranchman, specific to Oklahoma cattle. A lot of auction listings. Auctions kind of follow livestock pretty close. And just the neat old graphic art that these contain is pretty fascinating looking. Then just a few more other pieces that came out of here. This is a old Teamsters pamphlet signed by Mr. James R. Hoffa himself. And the whole thing is just pretty much a big propaganda leaflet about how much they hate the National Association of Manufacturers, blah, blah, blah. Then, coolest piece out of this is the Indian Rider's Instruction Book. It's from around 1947 or 48, so it's a neat piece, neat relic to show, along with the riding boots there. Just a little of the history. You could look around a place like that auction, and just tell that they were motorcycle and car enthusiasts, and see a lot of that stuff was probably already gone, had been passed on to the heirs or sold beforehand or whatever, and so just kind of clean up the remnants and the relics to piece together the story. And graduation program from 1948. Then just interesting old ephemera, receipts and cards. This is a pay stub from a highway and airport builder. It's kind of neat. And there's just other vintage. This is a little deal he sent off. I'm not sure if this would have been used in any of the Carnival stuff, but it's a target little shooter there, so you can see they had it set up for that purpose. So maybe in the carnival business that was something they used. I have no idea. They could have just used it for fun. This one's kind of neat. Cadet at a military academy wrote that. It's just a thank you letter for something like they helped him out for 25 bucks or something, and wrote to thank him. And then this little magneto and generator receipt. Kind of a cool relic of time back when people still rebuilt things. Then postcard there for 1948, 1 cent stamp on there, and they wrote to him and they asked, "How are you? Are you still running girls around on your motorcycle?" So just another relic of that. And then this old ad came out of one of those magazines. Looks like 38 Farm Journal. So that one's pretty neat because it's got the little excerpt by Henry Ford there that they put his signature in. They were expanding the Rouge plant, so that's just a neat little period advertisement to tout that. And there's a photography magazine there, so just more interesting stuff. It'll probably get resold at the flea market, or who knows. I'm kind of at a point where I've done so many of these estate cleanouts that, I mean, you can see it's kind of starting to take over the garage, and I'm pretty sure that next spring I'm probably just gonna go load a whole truckload of this stuff and take it to the flea market, do a whole blowout. I'll probably show that here on the channel, and anybody that's local can come see me. There's a Paramount Antique Mall, and that's on, they have like 3 of them, but the really big blowout one is on the west side of Wichita. So if you're close around there, western Kansas or Kingman or Pratt, or really anywhere around in the area, it's pretty neat. Come check out that flea market, and I'll probably post details of that. I'll probably do like a packing and loading video, and then probably do a sale video too, and just kind of show a little bit of the outlet for this stuff and where it goes after we find it, and the process of cleaning it up and reselling it. So look for that later. Appreciate everybody stopping to see what we got, and we'll see you on the next one.
Pallet that's on the front of that crate. Okay. My problem might be my lift. I don't know if I can get. Oh, you're single stage, aren't you?